Welcome to the OVW Podcast, the unofficial podcast of Ohio Valley Wrestling. I am Jackman, Ochs. I'm joined, as always, by Brian Hines.
How's it going, guys?
Today
and
we
gals.
and gals, and everyone in between.
And everyone in between.
Today we are getting into all the action from OVW Rise 1279, which originally emanated live from historic Davis Arena on February 15th, 2024. We've had a ton of special guests. Some of them less special than others. We'll get into that later, maybe. But we've had a ton of special guests recently. Most recently, Star Rider hit our feed.
He sure did.
What a great interview that was with Star Rider, man. Hard to tell what you're going to get out of a guy in a mask.
It really is. I had no idea what to expect, but it was an absolute delight talking with you, Star Rider, and we thank you for coming by the studio to spend some time with us because we had a lot of fun.
We definitely did, and Star Rider was great. Linda Kay as well. She'll be coming up on the feed this week.
Oh,
she was fantastic.
I had a great time talking to her.
Shalance Royale and PJ Jones, they were fantastic. We interviewed them. They'll be on the feed.
Oh my God,
soon.
that one is hilarious.
And then we interviewed somebody else. You guys might not ever hear that interview, but that's okay. Let's get into all the OVW headlines from this past week, Brian.
Okay, so the biggest headline of the week, and we've already kind of talked about this.
Oh, before we get into it,
okay,
we usually cheers with some bourbon, but
this week... Yeah. This week we are going to change it up, and this time we have somebody brought in some
fudge.
Some fudge.
Cheers, brother.
Cheers.
For real.
I love that you tap the fudge on the table, Jackman.
Brian Hines, tell me about OVW Overdrive.
Hold on, man. This fudge is really rich.
Yeah,
so I guess I'll take it. I don't have.
I don't eat a whole lot of sweets, so I'm trying to savor this, man. Cut me some slack.
It's good. It's good.
I'm happy to announce that.
I had red meat and chocolate today. This is a big day for me.
Well,
it was a Monday for me.
Yeah.
And I did both too. So
Malachi, we can cut this out. Tiny Brian, can you please tell us about OVW Overdrive?
So this Tuesday, the day this comes out in our audio podcast feed, you can see OVW Overdrive currently exclusively on YouTube. They are hoping to expand it to real TV. So if it's a thing that you want to see it on your local CW, you want to see it on whatever TV, wherever you watch regular OVW, if you want them to also carry Overdrive. Call your TV people and shout at them that they need to give you Overdrive. And so they're very excited about that. That's also going to mean that we will no longer be covering the OVW pre-show because they are no longer calling it that.
It'll be a different thing altogether.
Yeah, it will air on Tuesdays. So yes, we will no longer be covering the pre-Rise matches in this particular episode, because they're going to be on a different day. So,
and Mr. Brian Hines, our soon-to-be guest, we haven't recorded it yet. No, we recorded it like 2 weeks ago. Linda Kay, she's actually getting the opportunity to do some commentary for the pilot episode of
How
OVW
fantastic
Drive.
is that?
Seriously.
That's great. She's really good to talk to, and she's very charismatic, and she does a great job at OVW. So I'm glad to see her to get some time talking about the matches that they put on for us every week.
And let me ask you this, Brian Hines. This is what they call a tease in the industry. Would you have ever thought that Linda Kay got her start in the wrestling industry the way that she did?
No.
Didn't see that one coming, but what a great story it was, and you guys can find it on this feed on Thursday this week.
But
I'm coming then.
I'm jealous of the fact that her first show was the one that it was, because I just saw that clip last night on a different program,
and I almost blew it. But actually, for the sake of the tease, I'll keep it a secret. You guys can tune into it. But but seriously, when you guys hear her history of not only being a fan, but how she came up in wrestling, nothing I could have ever predicted. I think you guys will be just as surprised as me and Brian was.
It certainly was surprising.
The Kentucky Championship is now called the Media Championship. I think that I don't think I fully understand this. Could you guys explain this to me a little bit?
Well, I mean, it's analogous to the old TV titles.
Right.
I guess AEW, don't they have a TNT title? I don't really. You guys know
They
how
have
much
a
more
TNT,
wrestling.
a TBS, an international. I guess my confusion with this is this is the belt that has now transformed itself into being the Kentucky, or it was the Kentucky Country Boy Heavyweight Championship.
Yes, it is still Kentucky. It is still the Country Boy Media Heavyweight Championship. Is now the proper appellation.
And they've retired that big blue belt. They've got a brand new belt.
Which is a handsome belt, by the way.
It is quite the belt.
I was able to hold it and take a picture one time at the Davis Arena, and I felt championly.
Oh, that belt was pretty too, but this new belt's really cute as well. But Kentucky Country Boy maintains it is basically the delineation would be this is the new Kentucky Country Boy Heavyweight Championship, right? Mm-hmm. I am understanding that correct?
Yes.
And Brian Hines, I know you're a big fan of conventions, big fan of autographs in general.
Yes, I've been collecting autographs for about 40 years now.
The annual Lexington Comic Con is coming to Lexington at Rupp Arena, or what's it called? The
Central Bank Center.
Central Church Arena. They're coming from March 7th through the 10th of 2024 this year. If you're
they
listening
sure
to
are.
this,
It's coming up quick.
And OVW has been announced. They will do a show there. Is that do I have that correct?
I don't think they're going to actually wrestle there. I think they're going to have some stars there, do some autographs, maybe a panel.
Great.
I just got the news. This is late breaking from Kennison just today.
Has there been anything on online?
I don't think LexCon has even announced it on their socials yet.
Whoa, so
we may be breaking this to the world.
Are we doing that thing where we're journalists again?
I'm checking.
We are trying
now.
to journalist. Yes.
Hold on, you're right. I do need to check my blood sugar and make sure that I can journalist today. We'll see. We'll see what's going on. Tell me about. Well, I can tell you while we're confirming whether or not this has been officially announced, but we're willing to confirm it, right, Tyni Brian?
Yeah, Brian Kennison confirms. If Brian Kennison tells me something's true, I believe it.
Oh no, I'm not disagreeing. I was just wondering if I could give some more solid
Context.
information.
Right,
No,
right.
there is nothing on the Lexington Comic and Toy Con as of right now, but keep your eyes peeled for that, and keep your eyes peeled for us because
We should have more
be
details on that next week.
Yeah, we'll have more details on that next week.
And we
but
just try really hard not to say anything on here that we know is not true unless it's about Luke Kurtis's mother. So
and
Wow.
we leave that to Brian.
I just wanted to
We leave
make
that
sure.
Tyni
I just
Brian.
wanted to make sure, Tyni Brian, that this time you had the details correct.
Burn party of one.
I'm not coming around and sitting there again. I've taken my licks.
No, not this time. Next time you fuck up, I'll have you around here again. Brian Hines, tell me about the OVW tour update. They do a big tour every
one
single
thing
year.
before we actually get to the tour update.
Do you want to come up here and sit in the chair?
No, no. But I did want to mention once again that
Yes,
sorry,
Brian.
yes.
Yes, Tyni Brian.
literally 12 hours after they retired the Kentucky Heavyweight Championship at OVW, Kentucky made them their own holiday,
Oh yeah.
which I find ironic.
That is true. If in case you missed it, January 16th, February 16th, 2024. February 2024, the 16th is OVW Day.
Well, I'm going to assume that every February 16th from now until the heat death of the universe is OVW Day. It's
That's
a
how
holiday
we're
now.
that's how
And
we're
it's
playing
also-
it at my house.
It's also every OVW Day, several days a week in these very feeds on every social media podcast platform.
That is true. We it's OVW Day a lot for us.
But no, please, Tyni Brian, you uploaded a special episode this past week. Like, we were not fortunate enough to go. You had to work. I had to be hungover, and but you were fortunate enough to go, and you covered us here as a team on that day. What was it like to be in the Capitol that day for OVW Day?
So it was a little surreal. I will tell you, pulled up at the on the parking structure, and just kind of came to a stop. And somebody else was pulling in next to me, and look over, and it's Luke Kurtis and Layla Gray in costume, like Luke in his full robes. You can actually see a video with him on our socials.
And thank you for that, Luke.
Yeah, beautiful moment there. There was a moment like after, so the proclamation was very much like parliamentary procedure, parliamenting. They read it out. It was very nice. Some of the
And here too, it is OVW Day.
Yes,
That type of thing.
yeah, and it was there was some senatorial humor. I give you a little bit of that in the episode.
What was the best Senate joke you had?
So one of the gentlemen, the senator from Harlan, came and said that he remembered when wrestling in the 50s was like a social event, and you would all gather at the general store because they had the TV, And I identified that with that because my mother also did the same thing. Like her parents had went and were worked in a war factory in World War II in like Maryland and came back here, and with part of the money that they made from that had bought the community's only television. So my mother on Saturday afternoons used to have to walk. They had a path that went all the way to the peak of the mountain, and they would have to walk it and clear all the leaves and sticks and everything off this path because that's the antenna line. Mm-hmm. And it had to go all the way to the roof to get all the way to the peak of the mountain to pick up WSAZ television, where they would watch wrestling on Saturday nights. Mm. And he implicated that one of the Louisville senators was also in that situation. And it's this elderly gentleman with a bow tie, very, very kind of a cute kind of senior citizen guy who
they must be on opposite sides of the aisle. Otherwise, he would call him by name, but they're not allowed to be friends in public. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. So, but that senator actually took a moment to come back and the one who he accused of also being there in the 50s came back to say that he had no memory of that he was not there in the 50s. A little age joke and some gentle senatorial humor.
Yeah, for sure.
But there was a moment where all of the OVW personalities and wrestlers were all on one set of steps. It's the moment just before Luke grabs my microphone and cuts a nice promo right there in front of them. They're all walking down, and I'm standing there with my mic, and just ready to interview them. And they all kind of just look at me at once and are sort of confused by my presence. And I just kind of had to go, what, guys? I cover you people. So I'm just here to talk.
It's not like they ain't know us.
No, they knew me. So, but anyway, so that was fun. Check out that episode if you're so inclined. It's about half an hour of me wandering around the Capitol talking to your favorite OVW stars. See some video clips of that in the near future as well. So,
and a couple of things, if I could. Some of the pictures and videos that we got from that day were some of the most overwhelming things, even though I was not a part of it, Brian. Those are some of the most overwhelming things I've ever seen or has happened on this podcast, seeing all of our guys, these people that we've been lucky enough to call friends over the last few months, being celebrated and recognized that way in the state capitol was really, even just seeing a picture of it, hearing audio of it was really tremendous.
Yes.
And we also, I don't want to put it out here into the ether, into the public rather, into the very, as Jackman Ochs saying this and having Tyni Brian confirm it, we're going to put the pressure on one Matt Jones right now.
Matt,
yeah, that's right.
So Matt did kind of get within about 6 feet of my microphone, and I tried to hail him. You can hear it if you listen.
Y'all don't like each other. No, I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. Y'all love each other, right? Y'all love each other, right? No, y'all are perfect with each other. Never had any beef with each other, right? Yeah.
I like Matt Jones just fine. I don't know what he thinks of me, and honestly, I don't know why he would think of me much at all.
There's a lot of young boys in the state of Kentucky, myself included, that would not be doing anything close to what I do without Matt Jones, and I mean that. Even though I've had my problems with him or what he does in the past, and a lot of that only really came from me doing this so long, as I just didn't want to become another Matt Jones clone. But like, there's a lot of boys in the state of Kentucky and wider that wouldn't be doing what they do without Matt Jones, and that's the truth. But he did come on mic. We
just
have
long
this
enough
on
to confirm that
we have this on record. We have this on record
that he will come on this podcast for an interview.
And if we try to get you on the podcast and it just doesn't happen, we're probably going to have to bust some balls at some point. That's just kind of how it goes.
And,
okay, well,
Matt, if you never come on this podcast, or Matt, if you do come on this podcast, I will never do my impression of you that's really, really, really good ever again in public, just in private.
All right, then.
All right. Well, this concludes the moment where we talk to the chairman.
Please, Matt Jones, come on this fucking show. It'd be a big fucking blast. It would do us a lot of good. Maybe somebody could pay us for this thing every once in a while. Brian.
Tour update.
OVW tour update. So for the foreseeable future, Friday, February 23rd, Manchester Music Hall here in Lexington, Kentucky. We've already got tickets. We'll hope to see you there. Sunday.
Send us a DM that day. To all y'all. Send us a DM. We'll see what we can get going. Just a heads up. An unofficial announcement right there. Send us a DM, friends, fans, wrestlers, otherwise. Send us a DM the 23rd. We'll see what's up.
I don't know what he means either, man.
Just
Okay.
saying.
Anyway,
Just
let's
saying.
move
Send
on.
us a DM that day.
Moving right along, February 25th, they're going out on the road, and they're going to be at the Irving Theater in Indianapolis, Indiana. That's a Sunday night.
Great venue.
And on March the 2nd, they are going to be at Bowman Field as part of Tailspin Ale Fest in Louisville, Kentucky. I have not had the pleasure of being there, but my friend and co-host Jackman Ochs has, and vouches for its status as one of the
Absolutely.
premier craft beer events in the Commonwealth, or perhaps anywhere.
Anywhere. And I said this last week, but it bears saying again. If you're a craft beer fan and you're an OVW fan, there is no excuse for you not to attend Tailspin Fest that day, unless, of course, you can't get tickets or something like that.
Well, yeah, that goes without saying.
One more thing I do want to mention right at this moment, gentlemen, is if, fans of the podcast and also fans of OVW, if you are going to one of these shows in Indianapolis or the Tailspin Ale Fest or Ale Spin Tail Fest, whatever it is, or any of these other shows they're going to be announcing over the next weeks and months, we would love to get your firsthand accounts of what you see, what's interesting. A lot of these things are just going to be wrestling matches, but we'd love to get some firsthand fan reports on these shows that we won't be able to attend, and then therefore, like, it's hard for us to try to cover these shows when we don't actually attend them ourselves.
If you ever wanted to be in wrestling content creation, here's your chance. And if you're good enough, we cannot pay you too, but we'll definitely take your pictures and your videos and your interviews and stuff.
And we might feed you chicken at some point.
Yeah.
That
Oh
seems
no,
to be
come
what we do
come
for
through
competition.
Lexington. There's plenty of chicken.
Yeah, if you come through Lexington,
We'll even get
we
the
will
good
feed
stuff.
you for sure, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
We're going to Critchfield?
Oh yeah. No, if somebody, this is our promise.
Okay.
Brian, you can deal with it. You can swipe your card later. But we will promise if you can bring us any exclusive content, whether it be a few pictures, an interview, something. Work hard on this because we don't have a lot of money around here, and we're not just gonna give this shit out. But if you can bring us something that is actually like worth time and worthwhile, next time you're in Lexington, Critchfield's Chicken on the OVW podcast, the unofficial podcast of Ohio Valley Wrestling.
Oh my God, it's so good.
And
So
I just put it on Mike, Brian, so you have to deal with it.
I just
Okay.
found out where Critchfields was yesterday. I was out doing some other things. I was out doing Brian things.
As
and I
a
drove
new
down the street.
Lexingtonian, welcome to finding Critchfields.
Thank you very much.
What were you getting into yesterday?
Yesterday was epic. Every once in a while, you have one of those days where you leave the house for just one particular thing. Like in this case, you can't see it right now, but my ears are pierced. I've had hoops in my ears for several years, and I thought, you know what? It's a nice day. I think that I'd like to go out and get a new pair of hoops. So I went to the first place I thought of that might have something like that, and that was, anybody who knows me would know that I would go to,
Hot Topic?
no,
Oh.
Pop's Resale.
I was my second guest was Claire's, but Pop's Resale makes sense. Yeah.
No, I don't hang out at Claire's or the mall really or anything, but I went to Pop's Resale in Lexington. If you've never been, you should go. I highly recommend it.
I do too for every other reason other than earrings because I don't have an ear piercing.
So bad news, they did not have what I was looking for. But today or yesterday was one of those days that was so epic. They had something that just blew my mind, and I had to buy it. So nobody in this room has seen what I'm about to lay out on you guys.
Oh, gosh.
But
I didn't even know we were doing this tonight.
We've already talked about this particular thing
Okay.
within the last week or two.
Okay.
And it's just oddly specific that I found this particular thing at Pops.
Okay.
So hold please.
For those of you just listening on audio, Brian is now consulting a large black box that is off the video set. He seems to have something on a cardboard backing. I
So-
can't tell what it is from here.
What do we got? Oh, Brian, I love
This
it when you talk
is-
dirty to me, Brian.
This is
Oh, I love it so much.
Seems to be a collectible of some sort.
No fucking way.
Right?
I don't know what that is. So
okay. So when we've spoken about the Iron Demon Shane Mercer,
Right.
I've referenced this particular figure because his outfit reminds me of
Definitely.
Hercules
definitely.
Hernandez. And as a matter of fact, I think last time on the show, I said if I were going to make an LJN style wrestler of Shane Mercer, I would take the legs from Hercules Hernandez, the torso from somebody like Davey Boy Smith, the Dynamite Kid.
Yeah.
If you're a fan of the podcast and you are familiar with this line of action figures from the 80s, you'll know who I'm talking about. Basically, if you're about to get AARP magazine in your mailbox, you'll know these toys.
One of the
and then the
weirdest
head
things
would
in
be
my...
the referee, because
right on. Yeah.
the head of the referee looks like Shane Mercer. So there you go. I saw this, and I've only seen
can't
these
say no to that.
once in a great while, and I can make more money, but I can't make any more of these. Boom.
Do we still have the poster in
Yes.
the card
It
here?
has-
That would be right here at the bottom of the card. There?
Yes. Here in this little blue box, there is a poster of Hercules Hernandez. All the LJN figures back in the day came like this. These were my absolute favorite toys as a kid. As you can see, I still have some here. There's Mean Gene.
Mean Gene, our patron
We've
saint.
also had Classy Freddy Blassie.
Yeah, if you go back and watch other episodes.
If you go back and watch other episodes,
I
you'll
think,
see some of my collection. Like I try to change them out, so we always have something new to look at. But I just thought it was oddly specific that we just talked about this guy, and boom, there he is.
Can I see that real quick?
Of course.
Thank you. I'm just going to hold this right here for the rest of the show.
Okay.
A couple
Good,
of
because
things.
that's how I feel.
Couple of things. Pops Resale's the best. If you're in
Amen.
Lexington, go to Pops Resale for anything, any nerd shit, period. Great clothes.
This shirt, let me stand up so you can see it properly. I picked up this shirt at Pops
For
yesterday.
those of you on audio, Brian is now taking off his headphones.
It's a Jack Daniels, Jack Torrance shirt.
Yeah, Jack Torrance Red Rum, Overlook Hotel in the style of Jack Daniels, which is Tennessee whiskey, which is not what we generally do here, but we're going to let it pass.
Wouldn't even spit in a bottle of it, baby.
No.
Pops Resale is great. Just want to say that thrice more without any money being involved. I also want to say that you can find all of your tickets, whether it's at Davis Arena or whether it's for any of the live shows that we've announced here or any of the live shows that will be announced soon. You can find those at OVWTix.com. Do I have that right? OVWTix.com?
Yep, OVWTIX.com.
And we will get into all of the action from last Thursday. That is OVW Rise 1279 from February 15th, right after this.
Hey, guys.
Huh?
Hey.
So,
Sorry, I'm nursing. I'm a little tired.
Okay. I would just thanks for saving that
takes
for
a
my
lot- takes a
thanks
lot out
for
of you.
saving that for my home front commercial.
Takes a lot
Jackman.
out of you.
That was real great. So, guys, do you know what a deep space network is?
Yeah, that's
I know
what.
Deep Space Nine.
Never mind. I'm not even gonna.
Thank you. I'm
I
gonna
almost
thank
had.
you for
I almost had a
self-
beaches and cream moment. There.
Okay, easy. We're not. So the Deep Space Network is a rudimentary data network that's used to control things like satellites. And did you know the only node on the Deep Space Network not directly controlled by NASA is in the state of Kentucky, is in the Commonwealth of Kentucky.
I know that.
I did not know that.
And you know how? And if you want to know more about it, you know where you can go to find out.
I have a guess.
It's the Bluegrass Homefront.
That was my guess.
That was
Yeah, a couple years ago, Victor and I visited the Morehead State University Space Science Department, and their head, Dr. Benjamin Malfris, who was our actual professor when we were in actual college. Brian as well. You had the intro to astronomy with him, didn't you?
No.
No? Did you have any astronomy with him?
No, I didn't get into any of his classes. They were either, it was a very popular thing, going out and stargazing and seeing the constellations and the like meteor showers. But no, I never did actually have the privilege of taking one of his classes, although I tried to get into several times.
So yes, he's a great guy. He gives us a full
Fantastic.
tour. In fact, we get to see and talk about some things that normally we wouldn't have, because everything was shut down for COVID when these interviews were done.
Oh, yeah.
So we had to stay 6 feet apart, but we still managed to see a lot and talk a lot and wear a mask a lot. But it was fine. It was good. So that's one episode that I really enjoyed, and you can find at bluegrasshomefront.com or wherever you get your podcast. Bluegrass Homefront, Kentucky Music and Stories. Now back to the OVW podcast.
Talking about red rum earlier, let's get into talking about this first bout, which is ZDP versus Star Rider. If you missed it at the top of the show, we interviewed Star Rider a while back. Keep your eyes peeled for
Great
that.
interview.
We have not had the pleasure of ZDP in the studio. I would love it if he would come by and talk to us sometime, although I would suspect a lot of the answers would be
I think if we give ZDP a few more weeks.
for now. Yeah, for now, that's
I
probably
think
what
that
we
we
would
should
get.
probably get him on the show.
Yeah. We'll just see how things go. But the first bout was ZDP versus Star Rider. The most entertaining part of this match is him chasing Eric Cornish, and that's
For sure.
Outside of the fact that
He's a good guy.
he's a
great guy.
He is a great guy.
Great fucking guy.
He is such a great guy.
Voice of the Valley.
Yeah, voice of the Valley.
Like, and I said this in the moment. I think I said it twice to Eric Cornish that night on 2 separate occasions. Man, you killed it tonight. And
Yeah.
he said, in all of his great guyness and to be honest, being very humble.
Very
he said,
humble, yes.
He said, "No, I almost killed myself."
And
running away from ZDP.
he ain't lying as far as that
No,
goes.
man, he killed it. He
'cause
killed it. It was awesome. Great spot.
Yeah, ZDP chased him all the way around the ring. In order to get away from ZDP, he dove through the ring and rolled out the other side. But that was a very entertaining portion of this match. But anytime I get the opportunity to see ZDP, I am very thankful because he's such a talented performer, as is
Absolutely.
Star Rider.
Absolutely. And these are 2 guys that if you let them go, if the cameras weren't on, this is 5 hours of some of the best wrestling you've ever seen. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And sometimes it can be hard on television wrestling, and everyone has to fill their spot and stuff like that. But these are two truly of the most how could I say fearless men on the entire roster.
Yeah, absolutely.
And no shock here that they tore the house down, and also no shock that Star Rider, former champion, took home the victory here tonight in the pre-show.
Yeah, unfortunately for ZDP, it was not his night, but Star Rider, congratulations on such a wonderful and entertaining win.
Up next was the 3-way tag, the trios tag between Juta Pecos and the Golden Lions with Will Austin and the OVERmen.
It appears as though they are pushing Will Austin.
A
little bit.
I will say this every week, every day of my life, every living breath. Push Will Austin. Will Austin.
There was a short with him in it. Him and the doctor. That's Dr. Asa. Is that correct?
Yeah. Right?
Okay.
We have that ASA, Dr. Asa?
Yes.
Yeah, where...
A little later in the show still, but yes.
Yeah. Well, no, he was in the... There was a short before this trios match.
Being very well established inside the television.
Yes.
I did not know that I would like Will Austin and the OVERmen, but I loved Will Austin getting this victory here.
That was a really, really good
fit. And as we kind of fans move toward the dissolution of the OVERmen in general, and we wonder what happens to the fragments of that team, really good argument to make that Will Austin and the OVERmen here kind of become a unit because they looked like killers. They were awesome. And just at the end of the day, push Will Austin. That's what you did. He got the pin over Juta Pecos here.
Yeah. He and Joe Mack and Human Thumb, Adam Revolver, just, got it done, man. And they looked good out there working together as a team. Unfortunately for the Golden Lions and the Rush Division champ, Juta Pecos, it was not their night. But Will Austin?
Absolutely.
Well,
have you ever, in your life, Brian, whether it be wrestling or movies or film or whatever, I guess those are, actually no, movies and film are not the same thing at all. Music, television. Have you ever been confronted with something that you hated at the beginning of it, and then, I guess, instead of familiarity breeding contempt, familiarity bred love?
Just liking something that I didn't like in the beginning.
When you first saw it, you just didn't get it. You hated it. It was against everything that you liked about the thing that you liked. And then you get exposed to it a few times, a few weeks in a row, and then you kind of say, well, shit, I was the idiot there.
Oh, sure, it happens to everybody.
I'm feeling that way right now about Lady Bird and Sophia Rose. And I hate to say that because I love TT and I love Riley Matthews a lot. But Lady Bird and Sophia Rose took over the victory here. Hottest tag team, male, female, otherwise, in OVW right now.
We think they're hotter than Donovan Cecil and TW3.
Yes, I do.
I was hoping that they were next in our notes of discussion, so we could kind of transition into that. But that was not the case. But
we can have
Lady
that
Bird and
conversation
Sophia
when it
Rose
happens.
are on fire, and
absolutely are.
there's no two ways about it. Like their ring gear looks great. They work great together. They put on a good match, and this week they got the win over Riley Matthews and Island Girl TT.
And I've seen this. I've been fortunate enough to see this a few times at OVW where maybe I don't understand what I'm being shown right at first. And maybe they're not fully where they need to be right as soon as I'm showed them. But because of good booking, because Al's so smart, because OVW is really good at the end of the day, wrestling television. Within a few weeks here, Lady Bird and Sophia Rose, I'm like, give it to me. Let's actually bring out some tag champions, like some tag championships. Let's build a big tournament. Let's do something. Let's make a big to-do about the unveiling of some tag championship titles for the women, and let's give it to Lady Bird and Sophia Rose.
It does feel like the women's division is pairing off a little bit.
It does, and
Yeah.
that's not a bad thing.
Oh no,
it's
I
not
think
a bad
that's
thing at all.
that's a great and wonderful thing. And yeah, like you said, however many weeks ago it was, we first saw them as a team, maybe 3 or 4. It's like your standard reaction, like, oh, hey, here's some new people. All right, let's see what they do, and then you just kind of watch them for a couple days or a couple weeks in a row, and you see them progress a little bit, but it's maybe a month later or something like that.
Couldn't even be
And
month at tops.
They're knocking it out of the park. I want to say they haven't lost anything yet, and I think they've been on the air for about a month, so they've got like a 4-match losing streak on the weekly show.
The format's winning streak, right? They haven't lost.
No, isn't that what I said?
I think you said losing.
Yeah, they beat 2 different Chalance tag team
teams.
groups.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. Well, if I said losing,
I think you just misspoke.
sorry.
I think you just misspoke.
I
I think you knew what you were saying, but you just misspoke, bro.
I happen to do that a lot.
Me too. Have you ever listened to the show? No, in all seriousness, like I go back and forth now that I know this product so intimately and get to have the fortune of sitting behind the scenes with people that know it even more intimately than I ever could, where I go back and forth. I'm like, is there a time for secondary titles in the women's division? Is there a time for tag titles in the women's division? Like, what does the future of the women's division look like? And I go back and forth week to week. And I'll admit, I wasn't like the biggest Lady Bird and Sophia Rose fan. When they made their debut, they happened to make their debut against 2 women that I have gone to bat for on this show several times, and I'm very, very high on. And it kind of soured my taste a little bit. But when I see the future of the women's division and I think about something like a women's tag team belt being introduced, in my mind right now, it has to be there for Lady Bird and Sophia Rose.
I could absolutely see them being the inaugural women's tag team champs because honestly, they're the only true women's tag team in the locker room. Everybody else that participates in a tag team match is just one individual paired up with another individual.
Well, no, Ellie's best friends with the Bad Girls Club.
Well, I mean, there's that, but they kind of switch out a little bit. But this is like
I know what you mean. I know what you mean.
The Bad Girls Club now kind of neatly divides into 2 tag teams.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, Ellie and Layla Gray, and Hema and Tiffany.
Muy interesante, no?
And also, let's not mention the elephant in the room here. Mickie James is behind the scenes now. Women's booking is going to be more important. It's going to be better.
Fantastic.
It's going to be as much as we've thought that we loved it, as much as we have loved it, and as much as it's been worth loving and everything else. Like, there's something to be said about having someone like Mickie James behind the scenes that's like, man, if you thought it was good, buckle the fuck up. Yeah, exactly. Can you tell me about this next match, please?
So, Bout 4, is Ryan Von Rockit coming to the ring, escorted by the Rockits.
We have some Ryan Von Rockit.
Actually, yes. He
here.
came out with confetti and shot some confetti cannons, and we were at Davis Arena, and I decided that for posterity, we would have some of the actual confetti that came out. I mean, I know it's silly and all that, but we can go back.
I worked really hard on this little confetti bouquet right here.
No, the fact that I got it and scooped it up.
That's a little
that
silly.
part's
That's
kind
a
of
little
silly.
yeah.
But what you did with it was quite nice and festive.
Thank you. Well,
and
thank you.
If I'm the emotional centerpiece of this podcast, this is the actual centerpiece.
Yeah, my
of this
family.
podcast.
I grew up in a flower shop, so.
Really?
Oh yeah.
Wow.
Oh yeah.
It wasn't the one that that Adonis guy had back in the 80s.
It was actually that was a barber shop. I take that back. I was gonna say it was the one that Marty Jannetty got kicked through, but that was a barber shop.
Oh yeah, yeah. That definitely was the barber shop for sure.
While we're talking about Ryan Von Rockit, Ryan Von Reddy. While we're talking about Ryan Von
Maybe
Rockit,
next year that'll be his gimmick.
Hey, dude, I would lose my shit if Marty Jannetty came. Never mind. One more match, Marty Jannetty, OVW. What I was going to say was the confetti here is from Ryan Von Rockit, but who are these $100 bill from?
That is from the Bad Girls Club celebration that appears later on in the episode.
I thought.
And we'll get.
These
get
aren't
to
the
that
$100 that Carson Drake goes and handing out left and right everywhere.
No, it is not.
But Carson Drake was at the end of the Ryan Von Rockit.
Yes,
match.
He
it's right
was.
there in your notes.
Yeah, what happened though?
Well, let's take a look, shall we?
I suppose so.
He gaslights the women. He comes
then-
out and decides that since he tried to date them both at the same time.
Bad move.
Like an episode of Three's Company. There is some hilarious miscommunication, and he is.
Don't give him enough credit to be like John Ritter.
Okay, that's fair. His dumbass tried to date both these chicks in the same date, got caught, got told off, and then he comes on this week and claiming that it's the other way around, and he doesn't want them anymore because he has a new protege. As he put it, the AA to his Tully Blanchard, and that would be
Miss Ari Alexander.
Miss Ari Alexander.
Two things here. Two things. Finally, Ari Alexander has come back to a prominent spot here on the OVW roster.
It is about damn time.
Two,
Dose.
I am more scared of this spot for her than I have been her doing dark matches and losing. I really
Why is that?
because she's just gonna continue to put people over, and I think she's really, really, really good.
Well,
That's all.
We'll see about that.
I guess we will see. No, she's gonna go on a tear because this is how OVW books. She's gonna get like 3-4 weeks of fucking killer matches because she's killer, and she's gonna be able to put on great matches with whoever she has. I'm gonna say we'll see Ari Alexander, Riley Matthews probably. Like we're gonna see Ari Alexander and Hima. She's got a lot going on. We're going to see Ari Alexander versus some new people on the roster, and she's going to be great because that's what she does. But when it comes down to it, I'm afraid of this for Ari Alexander's trajectory in general. Getting put next to Carson Drake, a guy who can't. He's very new to the roster. He hasn't been able to get a lot of traction, but he's been able to get a ton of heat. People know I like Ari Alexander. I like Shalance. I want the best for them, and I question. She's going to kill this. She's going to be great at it. There's no question about that. If it was my show, I'd do it a little differently. That's all I can say.
I don't know. I think just the fact that getting that kind of character development and getting paired with somebody, even though
she's gonna shine him right the fuck up, for sure.
Well, that might be the case, but he is also on his way to the NWA as well. So who knows what that means for Ari Alexander?
Well, and also.
No.
If I was booking the show, Maximo Suave, my new close and purse best friend, would be Ryan Von Rockit. But I'm not booking the show. So.
Your new close and personal friend, Maximo, unfortunately does not come out on top this week, but which means that you can't stop The Rock. So Maximo could not stop The Rock.
People rarely seem to be able to stop The Rock on this program.
The Rock
Except for when they do.
The Rock has yet to be stopped. in a long, long, long time. And actually, I love Ryan Von Rockit, man. I really do. Like, I think that anyone who's willing to just be as outwardly ridiculous as that man, they can also like wrestle the hell out of any match that he's given. Like, there's nothing but respect to put on his name. I want to,
Oh
I
yeah,
think
I
that
love
goes
him.
without saying.
I love watching
think that
him
goes
work.
without saying. Tony Gunn versus Lucious Lawrence with Omar Amir. We could talk about Tony Gunn a little bit here. Maybe it's best we don't talk about the team of Beaches and Cream. There was no decision here between Lucious Lawrence and Tony Gunn.
No, this was more of a way to advance the storyline, because during his match with Lucious Lawrence, and it was interrupted by Tusks and Chains, which is the new name of the Mammoth Donovan Cecil and the 80s baby TW3, to get revenge after being injured at the last pay-per-view.
Right. He had some sort of lower leg injury. Tusks and Chains, better than Mammoth at the Disco or worse than Mammoth at the Disco?
I like Mammoth at the Disco better, although I'm still kind of pulling for Disco Stampede.
I guess I like Disco Stampede the best out of anything we've come up with. I guess my question is, if Mammoth Cecil, or if Donovan Cecil, the Mammoth, is the Tusks, is TW3 the Chains? Like, is he like that Jack Harlow song where it's like chains are cool because like I'm soft and cool? Like, is that what it's like?
I'm old, so I don't know what you just said.
I hear a lot of Jack Harlow I don't want to hear.
So if you look
Wasn't
at
he win the Nightmare Before Christmas?
That's Jack Skellington.
Oh, okay.
Jack
never mind, I'm sorry.
Skellington.
So, gentlemen, if you will direct your attention to our wall of autographs there off camera, you will see that in the autograph picture of TW3 we have in our possession,
He is wearing chains.
He is
in
wearing some
fact
great
wearing
chains.
Okay.
I think, I don't see him wearing chains when he wrestles because I do think they come off when the jacket comes off.
yeah.
So
that
I
would
never
be
made
considered a
I never
weapon.
made the connection. I never made because he's a good guy. He would never wear chains to the.
Yeah.
Right. Absolutely. Now I get it. Still don't like it any more than I liked Mammoth at the Disco, but I think I like it slightly more than I like Mammoth at the Disco.
I don't know. I still like mine best, but
we're gonna do a 2024 like best of like compilation clip, and it's just gonna be me complaining about tag team names.
That's going to be a great supercut someday, to be sure.
Yeah, I have like two opinions: Push Will Austin and every tag team name sucks. These are my two opinions.
I chimed in with, why don't we move on to the next match?
Bout 7, no. Right? Non-title match between the OVW Heavyweight Champion. Jack Vaughn.
hold on.
Well,
Let's back up.
talk to me dirty then. Talk to me
there
dirty
is
then.
no decision in this match.
Oh, wait. Yeah, you're right. I forgot something.
Donovan Cecil and T-Dub come to the ring to get revenge for the injury from the pay-per-view. But right after that happens, and we all kind of figured this, we get a video interruption from Real One, which is about the same as all of the other video or in-person interruptions we have seen over the course of the last month.
Especially from... Well, we've mentioned this in the past. The Real One does have a very distinctive flavor to his promo vignettes as opposed to EC3. They're a lot grittier, dirtier, make you feel like you need hand sanitizer a little bit more.
They are entertaining.
Makes sense that he gets paired with Beaches and Cream whenever you feel like you need to wash your hands every time you hear them speak. But this is just kind of, as you said earlier, this was not necessarily a match for anyone involved in the match. This was a match for us to tune in next week and see what happens between Tony Gunn and the Real One.
Precisely.
I kind of want to learn to do the Real One's dance.
I don't think it'd be hard.
It's a silly little dance, and I think I could work it out, but I kind of want to do it.
Really?
Yeah. Well,
I mean, it's just dumb. But that's why it's funny.
Have you met me?
Yeah, this is the guy. This is the guy that put me and you together. There's no way he's fucking smart.
You got me there, man. You got me there.
So, OVW Heavyweight Champion Jack Vaughn versus Big Beef. Want to say this before we kind of break down the action from that match.
Non-title match.
Non-title match.
By the way.
Big. That's a thing OVW loves to do. The non-title match.
Oh, sure.
I've complained about it in the past. I'm not going to complain about it here. There's plenty of it out there for you guys to subscribe and like in this very feed if you want to hear me complain.
And I sure do.
Is it time? And I'm not even saying I want to see them fight each other because I don't want to see them break up. Is it time for Big Beef and Big Zo to have more substantial singles roles week in and week out? And like, I don't want to see a feud between the two of them because I love the team of them. But I do think that like they're so good that they could do singles and then come back together and like.
Wait, what?
Yeah.
What? No, stop.
What?
Full stop right
What?
there. That is the exact opposite of what you said last week.
Yeah.
The
guess
exact opposite.
Well, guess what?
Go back into
A week. Guess
last
what?
week's episode.
A week went by and I saw Big Beef wrestle Jack Vaughn, and now my opinions are a little different.
All right.
Actually, you know what probably happened? Jack Vaughn's that fucking good. I just saw it. No. Actually, no. I take that back. I take that back. Malachi, take that out of the fucking feed. Big Beef is that good. There we go.
Okay.
No,
It's
no,
almost
you're
like
right.
they're both professional wrestlers. One of them, the last
Listen,
one.
Veteran beef.
Let me
Jerky.
Let me tell you this. There's only so long you're going to be able to say stuff on here before you get called out on it. And I'm getting to the point where pretty much everything I've said for the last 6 months is going to end up getting called out by someone.
If it hasn't already.
And if it
it already has.
If it hasn't already, and it just happened again. But anytime I get called out, I'm more than happy to have the conversation because I think it's a valuable conversation to have. To be honest with you, what happened, I did say that last week. What happened was a week went by.
And they advanced their story, and now you're in.
Yep.
And you're sticking to it.
No, Beef and Zo seem to both be doing single stuff pretty consistently
Yeah,
nowadays.
good for them, man. Good for them.
And I guess one of my biggest things is when I said that, I was afraid that OVW is going to break them up. I don't think they have to be broken up to keep doing single stuff. To make myself sound a little bit like I'm not just sticking my foot in my mouth all the time.
I mean, they're still using the same theme music. They haven't, there's no in-canon breakup that seems on the horizon. We haven't even seen them interact in weeks at this point.
To be honest, I would have loved to see a little bit of, this kind of singles push between the two of them happen in the lead up to the Rumble. To see how they would have reacted.
Oh, yeah, that would have been great.
See how they would have reacted whenever they
bump heads a little bit.
Yeah.
You go into the Rumble and you think that they are going to be working as a team, and they do to a point, and then they don't. As is the case quite a bit during a Rumble type match.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's you have an ability to tell 60 stories in the course of an hour. It's like there's no reason not to, right? That's what a Rumble match is. Let's talk a little bit about this new doctor. You mind to tell me about him?
All we know so far is this is Dr. Asa, and Dr. Asa pops up in a couple of the sketches that do not take place in the ring. We have seen Dr. Asa at ringside nearly every time we've ever gone to Davis Arena for one of the live shows. I may have even been so close to him, I got Wick's Pizza on him, but that's how close we are a lot. But
which pepperoni or cheese?
Pepperoni, but you got to get there fast.
Okay, yeah, always.
Yeah, because that'll run out. But if you get it, then you got to like sprinkle the Danos on there.
Absolutely, always sponsor us, Danos. So these
book 'em, Dano.
I brought these up earlier.
Yes, you did.
Here in our this week's set decoration. These are from, as I had wrongly said, Carson Drake. But these are actually from the Bad Girls Club in their celebration.
Correct. These are from the Bad Girls Club, who had an in-ring celebration filled with balloons and $100 bills. It was Hema who had the cash gun, right?
Mm-hmm. I believe so.
Yeah, that was great. Coming to the ring and just...
Very disappointed.
What?
I don't know, man. Like, sticking Hema with the Bad Girls Club makes all the sense in the world.
Yeah.
It really does.
It does.
I just wanted her to be cool and badass and babyface forever, I guess. I don't know.
Who knows? Maybe she's a double agent.
Oh, she'll get back to it. She's actually too good not to root for. She's actually this might be the best way to teach her something different than what she already has, is to put her with the most hated women on the entire side of that division.
Teach your children well.
But I can't say that I wasn't a little disappointed because I wanted him doing cool babyface shit from here until the cows came home.
Well, who knows? She's still very well may one day, but Thursday wasn't that day.
Not yet.
They came to the ring to celebrate Layla's championship win over Freya the previous Thursday, and then Tiffany appeared. La Princesa, Tiffany Nieves, friend of the show.
Great little piece of storytelling here.
Yes. She comes back and assumes that the party is hers because her suspension has been lifted, and she finds out that that is not exactly the case. Things are awkwardly kind of smoothed over, but there was squabbling until Haley and Freya broke up their celebration.
Layla played the long con here. That's what I think. I think the Bad Girls Club, the entire reason the Bad Girls Club came along was because Layla...
Freya's wedding.
Well, yeah, but Layla needed friends.
Yeah.
And now that Layla's the champion, what does her friendship with Ellie look like? What does her friendship with Tiffany Nieves look like? What does the end of her friendship with Hema look like? There's a lot of questions on the table with like what the future of Layla Gray is inside the women's division as champion.
Questions in a world of blue.
Up next, Mick Foley. After, of course, we mentioned this. Freya and Hollywood Haley J break up the Bad Girls Club celebration
and chase them out of the ring.
Is there
and straight into commercial?
Is Hollywood Haley J coming out in street clothes from the back and beating ass ever gonna get old? No, I don't think so either.
Nope.
No, I can confirm that will never, ever get old.
No, I really don't think
No.
so.
Honestly, more generally, wrestlers coming out from the back in street clothes and beating up people.
Yeah.
That's just a trope I'm almost always on board for.
There just seems to be something so appropriate about Haley's presence in OVW, though, that I would get like, I'm actually mad about that in a lot of other wrestling where I'm told that like the good guy is doing this bad guy stuff. But for Haley, I actually don't give a shit. I think it's fucking badass every single time.
Oh my God. While you were talking, I just realized who Hollywood Haley J reminds me of. And I love this character.
Pat Sajak?
No.
Vanna.
Good guess. Also no. If you're a fan of My Name is Earl, and it's been off the air for a while.
Man.
She reminds me
Jamie,
of
right? Is that her name?
Joy Turner.
Joy.
Played by Jamie Presley.
Who just has like if you've never watched that show.
And now that I've seen it, I can't unsee it.
But much like Hollywood Haley J, like if you've never watched that show, one of my all-time favorite shows, by the way.
What?
My Name is Earl.
Really?
Yeah, oh definitely.
Hell
yeah. Being from like a little fucking small podunk town and seeing rednecks on TV that weren't just like stupid drug addicts was like great. Like the whole point of the show is that he used to be bad and that now he's good and like
He's trying.
And like man, at that time and still to this day, you don't see characters when you're rural and from the South and you have an accent, you're dumb and you're worthless and like that's just the way it fucking is.
Hey, dummy.
But Joy is this very in the world of that show. She's this very rough and tumble character that hasn't always done the right thing, but has this heart of gold.
Yes.
And Hollywood is not unlike that.
No, she's not dissimilar to that. So.
No, just like very effortlessly charismatic and charming and like smart in a way that she won't admit. Like, I actually love this. And I love that show. If you ever watched My Name is Earl, it has been off the air for like 15 years.
I love that show so much. I actually, I'm a collector of things. Yeah. A curator, if you will, or an archivist. But I actually have 2 of Earl's shirts from the show.
Really?
They're actually screen-worn props, yes.
Are they both flannel?
They are flannel print, but neither of them are actual flannel shirts. They are flannel pattern, and one of them actually fits me.
It would show up better on TV, I assume, with the print versus it being like an actual flannel shirt.
You know what? I'll go into my collection, and I will bring that one day, and that will be part of Show and Tell with B. Hines on one of these episodes.
So in the interest of public service, I do need to mention that My Name is Earl ended on a cliffhanger that was not paid off.
Yes, unfortunately.
Yeah. So
and I'm still pissed about that.
While it is a great show, I loved My Name is Earl as well. Honestly, I always feel a certain kind of way if I watch a show and discover it ends on a cliffhanger and then doesn't resolve it. So before you make that decision to run and go watch it based on you two getting all that excited, I have to sort of make that.
The best thing about watching TV shows from that era, though, is it was before streaming, so you never were going to see the end of it anyway. And so if it ended on a cliffhanger, I watched My Name is Earl back on streaming, but I watched it week to week. And then I guess like season 3, I kind of got bored and never watched it and then never cared if it was on a cliffhanger. But that's like what's different in the streaming era is that now we all know how exactly everything ends because we actually make it there.
Well, speaking of shows that ended on a cliffhanger that was never answered or properly answered, meanwhile,
Twin Peaks.
yes.
Folks, Brian Hines loves Twin Peaks.
Let's tease this. Tell me, Brian, the Bryans, would you guys ever maybe,
Yes.
would you guys ever do a watch along where maybe you guys watch Twin Peaks on VHS? Would you? It's just a question. It's just a question.
I'm going to watch it regardless.
But Brian, Tiny Brian, would you ever watch it with him and maybe talk about it? Because you've never seen it, right, Tiny
I
Brian?
have never seen Twin Peaks.
Would you guys ever do that together?
I mean,
And then if you were to do it together, would you ever record it for a podcast for Black Light Moon Productions?
In theory, all of those things are possible.
I'm just saying. I'm just asking. I'm just asking questions. I don't know anything. I'm just asking
sometime in
questions.
a far distant future of almost exactly this time next year,
What year is it?
possibly.
2020.
What year is it?
It's 2023. This podcast will come out in 2024. So get to work on it, guys. See if I put it into motion like that, you guys have to work faster.
Whenever we go to do this, or if we go to do this, we need to go back and listen to this episode.
I'll
And
try to remember we talked about
or
this in a year.
or perhaps after we're finished, we need to go back in this episode because there are things going on here in this conversation right now that neither of you know anything about. But once in theory, if we were to go and do this and we were to go back and circle back around, you could be like,
I'm sure every conversation I've ever had with you is littered with those. However,
guys.
this is
All right.
not the Twin Peaks podcast.
No,
Let's
Hold on.
move along.
I got this. If we need to cut it out, Malachi, then I've got this. We're gonna pick it up like we just mentioned your My Name is Earl memorabilia. Okay?
25 years later, yes.
No, we're gonna. Okay, so we're talking about flannel. Right.
Right.
And Brian, somebody else who knows a lot about flannel is WWE Hall of Famer, hardcore legend Mick Foley. He's been on the OVW television. Tell me that wasn't good. He's been on the OVW television show for the last few months.
He certainly has, and he is no stranger to flannel. As a matter of fact, 2 weeks ago at Davis Arena, Tiny Brian and I had a Mick Foley lookalike contest, and we both lost.
And I think you also lost rock, paper, scissors officially that night, right?
I am not sure what my record with
The official Daniel Spencer.
Yes.
This week I won with rock, paper, scissors, but that was on the previous episode that we had with Victor, I believe.
I'm glad that you guys won at rock, paper, scissors, or lost to rock, paper, scissors for that matter, but like we're almost done here, so let's get it home.
Okay.
We're losing listeners by the moment. We're only supposed to do this
And
for
brain
like
cells.
a car drive for a ride, right? And these people are sitting in the parking lot right now about
This
to be
is for the
late to
people
work.
stuck in traffic.
Yep. Yeah. This is you're right, Brian. This podcast is for the people stuck in traffic, not for the people who are sitting in the parking lot getting ready to clock in.
No.
Mick Foley brings out a big bag.
Yes.
You're a wrestling fan, I'm a wrestling fan. We know if Mick Foley brings out like a big canvas sack, like who the fuck knows what's in it, right?
I always assume it's presents because he was Santa Claus.
It could be presents. I assume 50-50 it's thumbtacks. But
Okay,
presents is
that's
actually,
fair.
if it was 50-50, it's actually the other 50 is presents.
Yeah.
But
50-50 phone a friend, poll the audience.
And I guess this week it was a present of sorts
it was.
to one of our friends, Cal Hero.
And it was a rather momentous occasion because on this particular night at historic Davis Arena, at the end of the night, Mick Foley announces the retirement of the Country Boy Kentucky Heavyweight Champion, which is a damn fine cup of coffee.
Mm-hmm.
And
very new belt, very prestigious. We've been fortunate enough to interview several holders of that belt,
Yes.
past, present, and future.
Yes, we certainly have. And somebody has replaced that damn fine cup of coffee with Folgers Crystals. And in this case, it is the Kentucky Boy Brewing Media Belt.
Very
a
pretty
brand
belt.
new belt. The other belt is being retired. And now that means that the Fanny Pack Kid, Cow Hero, is the inaugural Kentucky Boy Brewing Media Belt champion.
He will be, I guess, since he is yet to technically win it, he will be defending it at an early possible opportunity, the next possible opportunity.
Yes.
It looks as if that defense will probably come against Tony Evans.
It would appear as such, yes. They seem to be building to a confrontation, especially since Mr. Superior has been working with talent evaluator Mick Foley to mixed results. And what happens this week in the Superior Court of Tony Evans?
It's what we all knew and wanted to happen, and none of us were disappointed when it finally did. Sometimes you get the big bike on Christmas Day, but you knew that you were going to get the bike, but you're still excited to get the bike. When Tony Evans hushed Mick Foley pulled
got the
out.
bike.
He got the bike. No, we got the bike. And actually, no, Tony Evans got the bike too. He got everyone's favorite piece of fabric, everyone's favorite accessory, Mr. Sacco.
Good old Mr. Sacco.
Cal
Last week it was Jay De Niro. This week,
getting
Tony Evans.
Yes, perfect build up there. Just suggesting to you week after week that this is possible, that Mick's willing to do it, and you finally get to see Tony does it like fucking perfect. This whole Tony Evans Mick Foley thing has been actually like pitch perfect week for week. I would have liked to see it, in my mind, kind of end with Tony Evans being fully turned into a babyface, but that's not where we got, and I'm not mad about where we are right now by any stretch of the imagination.
No, not in the least.
What was it like to get to see Mick Foley hit a DDT in Davis Arena?
It was something.
Did you ever think you were ever going to get to see Mick Foley be physical in a wrestling match beyond Mr. Sacco ever again in your life?
No, not really.
No, I didn't either.
Going back and thinking about it, I've seen a lot of wrestling shows, and I don't know that I've had the pleasure to see him live, although I may have once way back.
I've definitely never seen him in a ring.
No.
I've definitely never seen him crawl through ring ropes before.
I saw him. I saw his stand-up, but that's a story for another time. And hilarious, by the way, if you get a chance to check it out.
But, like, if we're not turning Tony Evans into a babyface here, the perfect way to end it is Mick finally getting physical with Tony Evans. And this wasn't what I wanted, but I'm not going to complain about what I got.
No, I'm not much of a complainer because it doesn't really matter if I complain anyway.
That's not true. Complaint's a powerful weapon, Ryan. I'll teach you one day.
Let me speak to the manager.
Try it again.
I need to speak to the manager.
Great. Perfect.
Okay.
We're getting there.
I have a structured settlement and I need cash now.
Up next, we see I'm not going to have you play through other things that might make you feel uncomfortable.
No.
The ringside doctor helps ZDP. Well, he suggests
that he can help ZDP. And we had heard rumblings that there may be a way to help ZDP.
Help ZDP.
Yeah.
To change ZDP a little bit.
For just 35 cents a day, you can sponsor ZDP.
You can help ZDP. ZDP, for 35 cents a day, you can unzombify them. And they're running a really successful campaign on that right now, I hear. And I guess we'll end this review of this sketch by saying, ZDP, in a few weeks, call us. You might have a little more to say in a few weeks. Man.
Right.
This is the next match. EC3 with Shannon the Dude, the OVERmen.
Mm-hmm.
Luke Kurtis.
Mm-hmm.
Man.
Mm-hmm.
I actually want to give you something back right now.
What's that?
This is not a joke, guys. And like sometimes I have a little help when I get emotional at wrestling.
Oh, I wondered about that.
But this is not a joke, guys.
No,
you've heard me
not.
talk about when I cry at wrestling before, and I definitely felt a little emotional. I knew going into it that EC3 was gonna win against Luke Kurtis here. There was just kind of no two ways about that. I had the fortunate status of standing next to Luke Kurtis's mom for a lot of the wrestling match, and I got emotional. And Brian, I want to give you this back. This is Brian's bandana that he gave me as I was bawling to Luke Kurtis during this match with EC3. This was as good of a finish as I've seen ever in wrestling. Definitely live wrestling. Definitely being like that close to it.
In terms of being a shocking finish, yes, it was. Okay, first off, I'm glad I carried a bandana because it definitely came in handy.
Well, I just want to say I'm sorry. But
for what?
It's fine. We can talk about that later.
All right. Yeah, it was.
I got emotional.
It was as fine a match as I've seen either of these men participate in, and I've seen some great matches.
There's no two men or women or anyone in between.
Wrestling bears,
mammals, amphibians, anybody that on that Thursday night, the night that this was recorded, was putting on a better wrestling match anywhere in the world.
No,
there just wasn't.
And we did actually get to meet Certified Luke Kurtis's real mom.
What a woman.
She is
what a woman.
a wonderful woman. I'm glad we got a chance to talk to her.
My favorite thing was that the ending was beautiful. It was one of those like double pin situations.
A beautiful misdirection.
Yeah,
yes.
where
very clever.
The heel was just a little smarter. He was a little more experienced to know what the predicament was, but Mrs. Luke,
Yeah.
Miss Luke,
Mrs. Certified,
Miss Certified, yes. She kept saying, "Oh, that never happened when Luke was in high school. Luke never lost when he was in high school."
Yeah, that's because that was different wrestling. He wasn't an OVERmen or a former OVERmen
But
then.
to be honest, there was something so beautiful about getting to share that with someone.
It really was.
Like there was, and that's the only reason I mentioned it. That's the only reason I mention it is because for me, not only did I think it was a great match for me as a fan, getting to see it for me as a fan, but getting to experience it next to her, and
who was just almost as emotional as you were.
Oh yeah, I mean just almost close.
Almost.
No, it was a great night at Davis Arena, a great match. If you go back and watch one match from this week, Brian, which match is it?
It's got to be this one because it is a showpiece for Certified Luke Kurtis. And my question at the end of this is, what does that mean for him? Because I kind of felt like the vibe was like, you're not going to see me for a minute because I'm going to go off and do even more badass things than I have. I honestly don't know. I don't know.
And I don't know.
We didn't hear anything.
Nope.
We don't have any sort of scoop. It just really kind of felt like this was his shining moment, and he's going to set sail on, straight on, second star to the left, straight on to morning.
As
on to bigger and better things. I don't know.
As one would put it, maybe this seemed kind of like a love letter from Luke Kurtis.
Yeah. To Certified with love.
And that is not us. Again, we don't know shit. If we knew shit, trust us. I'm not clever enough.
I'm just
to
going
act
by
like
feel.
I don't.
Vibe.
But I am definitely only going by emotion and what I saw and what I was lucky enough to see that night. And it kind of, I want Luke Kurtis to open the show next week. I do. Because I want to make sure he's there again for me to keep enjoying as a wrestling fan.
If he's not off making NWA money, maybe he will.
But there did kind of seem like, man, maybe I'm not here next week. And like, I don't know. Like I said, we don't know. I want to reiterate that 5 times. We don't know.
No, we don't. It's just purely speculation.
It kind of felt that way.
Do you think that that's the end of EC3's run? You don't think?
After Luke, if Luke was to go away, there's a part of me that wants to see more of EC3. Like there was a part of me I guess towards the end, maybe I didn't realize it, that one of the reasons that I wanted to see EC3 around was because of Luke. And now that we're on the other side seemingly of Luke and EC3, I kind of want to see EC3 around more because I want to go through the same thing I just saw with Luke. This has been a week of me going back on a lot of things I've said.
Well, sometimes it just happens like that.
When there's no off season, when this is 52 weeks a week, when this is one of the only things that you spend your time. No problem. Thank you. This is one of the only things that you spend your time doing. Sometimes it's easy to sit and complain about it, and then once things get put in perspective for you, you just want more of it. I've said that 1,000 times on this podcast, man. I'm a wrestling fan. If I knew everything about wrestling, then I would be booking the show, but I don't. So
I only heard half of what you said because I kept getting there's a short in one of the wires, and every time I get the static interference, I feel like I'm doing a psychic ability test with Dr. Pete Finkman.
Don't worry, we've got some equipment on the way to fix that problem.
Cool. I don't know what's next for certified Luke Kurtis, but I do
either.
know in the near future that EC3 will be defending the NWA heavyweight title against
Oh,
this
we got
man.
more stuff.
This is more from the Brian Hines collection. If you don't know who this is Ron Mathis. I've seen him wrestling quite a bit in Southern Ohio and parts unknown. He is a hardcore style wrestler.
Did his name just say trash on? Did his signature just say trash?
Yes, actually, he's part of a trio.
Okay.
And their name is DD Trash. But we'll get into more of that later. Who knows?
will-
Maybe we'll even talk to him at some point.
I'm sure that we will have more than enough time to talk to him and to cover his antics soon. Are we going live tonight? What are we doing? Let's just go home. Let's just go
Okay.
home. Brian, you want to take us home? You want me to take us home?
Sure, I got it.
All right.
The OVW Podcast, the 10th Carney Award-nominated unofficial podcast of Ohio Valley Wrestling, is produced by Blacklight Moon Productions at Nuthouse Studios in Lexington. The OVW Podcast broadcast team is Jackman, Ochs, and myself, Brian Hines. Our studio engineer and editor is Malachi P.S. Woodard. Executive producer is Tyni Brian K. Woodard. Senior producer for the BLMP is Victor Anderson. After watching Wrestlers on Netflix, visit ovwpodcast.com/podcasters to find all episodes of our unofficial Wrestlers After Show. Be sure to subscribe wherever you get your podcasts, rate us 5 stars, and give us a review. You can also follow us at OVW Podcast on Instagram, Facebook, X, TikTok, and
To the Davis Arena.
to the Davis Arena.
Love you guys.
Wherever you go, there you are.